Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside of my good pal Dylan. We have finally returned. We took our bye week off, but we're back. We're in the final stretch. We're in the home stretch for the NHL season. Less than a month. Sooner than you know it, the playoffs will be around, and then sooner than you know it, the draft's going to be here. Free agency is going to be here. Like, it's a very excited time for hockey. Things are getting finalized. Teams are starting to clinch playoff spots, or there's at least those scenarios, and we're going to find out, where the teams are going to be running in the lottery. It's a very fun time for not only hockey for me right now, but like baseball is starting in a few days. So I'm very very hyped right now. How have you been doing? We haven't talked in a while. It's been a minute here.
I'm good. Yeah, we're getting to the fun part of the hockey year, like you said. NFL draft season's a month away from
Hell
today,
yeah.
so that's exciting.
Right.
All the pro days are going on for that right now and whatnot. So yeah, it's a fun time for sports to say the least.
Yeah, it's always the like kind of end of September, early October where the hype for sports start up, and then I feel like it's kind of the same thing late March, early April with either the seasons are going or like there's a draft or like free agency. Like those are always the big time of the year for sports. So it's a fun time. Spring hopefully will be officially in bloom soon. Like we've hit spring, but like at least here in snowy northern Canada, it's still a little chilly out. But I would think within the next like 2-3 weeks, we'll start to see some beautiful green grass. There's starting to be already more sunshine, so we're getting there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we're going to start off with talking about the Blackhawks the last couple weeks. It feels like just the last couple weeks they've played exclusively California teams. I don't think they've played a team other than LA, Anaheim, or San Jose.
Yeah, it was weird how the schedule worked out like that.
Yeah, it would have been nice if we could have played the Ducks and Sharks more earlier in the year because like we did a podcast on the 11th. That was 2 weeks ago, and then after that, so they played the Ducks, won 7-2. In that game, it was 2-1 Anaheim, and then I'm pretty sure, yeah, that was the game where Connor Bedard just decided to take off. Or no, I think I'm mixing games up.
No, you're right. It was 5-point game for Bedard that game.
And that was a Blackwell hat trick too, right? No, that was Arizona.
Yeah, that was Arizona. The Hawks have had a couple of high-scoring affairs the last couple of weeks. Let's just put it that way, which is rare considering I feel like they didn't score 5 goals the entire month of January and going into February, and they've had 5 games now in the last 2 weeks with 5 or more goals, including that 4. Well, we'll get to that game eventually, but we joked earlier about how I didn't think this team was going to get 20 wins, and now they're sitting at
20
wins.
We're here. We got
We're
20
still
wins.
Shit. But
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. Like this is what I expected from this Hawks team all year. Just like spurts of scoring, and a little bit of a roller coaster in their own end. The good teams are going to obviously pummel them. Like they don't have an answer.
Saw with LA,
twice. They have no answer for the Kings 1-3-1. And that just shows like we talked about this all year. Like this shows the level of where the Hawks are at. Like, yeah, they look competitive against the bottom of the league. But when you face a cup contender, there's still years. They're not years away.
Smoked. Yeah.
They got a long way to go, to say the least. And that goes for everyone across the board. I think one of the players that basically sums up this last little stretch is Korchinski, because he'll have one game where he looks amazing and he'll have the next game where he's struggling. So that kind of sums up how the Hawks are playing right now to an extent. And they're picking up some interesting wins along the way too. We'll say that much.
Yeah, I was looking at the Anaheim game just to kind of refresh my memory. I'm like, I thought we talked about the game where Blackwell got a hat trick and Bedard got like 2 goals and 3 assists, and then no, in the game against Anaheim, the one after that, they scored 7 again. Bedard did have 5 points, 1 goal, 4 assists. Kershev had 2 goals, 2 assists, and then Nick Foligno 4 assists. That helped out. And then they get their next game is against the Kings, and I think they lost 5-0, and then San Jose again, like they play San Jose and then down 2-0 early on. Ryan Carpenter got a goal, but then they came back and win. Kevin Korchinski got got the game winner there, and then they go on the road. They play LA. They lose 6-2, and kind of what you said earlier with Kevin Korchinski. Like we saw, and like he had a rough game. He did score a goal, but he had such a rough game. Like it just felt like he was on the ice for every goal. And the thing with Korchinski is, I think we've talked about it since the beginning of the season. It's one of those examples where Korchinski was probably too good to go back for another year in the WHL. And because he's pretty much learned everything you can. He won a WHL championship with the Thunderbirds, but I don't think he was quite ready for the NHL yet. I think it's still valuable that he's getting this playing time, but I felt this year would have been a perfect year for him to go to Rockford, because the Ice Hogs have done a pretty good job with Alex Vlasic is the number one example. He played a full year pretty much there in Rockford last year and come up and look how well he's been performing. And now we hear about how well of a year Ethan Del Mastro has had. Even Wyatt Kaiser, who I think has looked really good since coming back up. Even him just spending not half a year, but like a quarter, like a little bit in Rockford has helped out his game and his confidence a lot. And Kevin Korchinski had such a rough game, but one, who didn't on that Blackhawks team, and two, this is a 19-year-old defenseman who doesn't turn 20 till June. His main defensive partner is Jacob Magna. Like, I was reading some articles on The Athletic about who's going to be Carter Bedard's linemate. Who are they going to go on free agency and get for him? And I think getting Kevin Korchinski a defensive partner is almost as important as doing that, because Connor Bedard, you can work with whoever. You can put Philip Khrushchev. He's developed great chemistry, even Nick Foligno. But Kevin Korchinski has just been drowning with Jacob Magnan as his partner. I feel the perfect defensive partner for Kevin Korchinski, and has helped out a lot of other young defensemen like Quinn Hughes and Noah Hannafin. I think Chris Tanev would be a great fit for the Blackhawks. Give him 1 year, give him 2 years, give him $6-7 million per, and just basically stick him to him. Like we've talked about, Nick Foligno, like he's this father figure on the team for him. I feel like Chris Tanev could be the same thing for him. So it's nice to see Korchinski is getting more offense. Like he's shooting pucks and they're going, and he's getting more bounces. Like he's starting to get some points on his score sheet. But it's been rough watching him. But so has the entire team. You look at Alex Vlasic, he's had Seth Jones this whole season, whereas the rest of the defense is kind of in the air. I feel if you can run Vlasic, Jones, then Korchinski and Tanev, and then your bottom pairing, like you still have Connor Murphy, and then you can stick with a Wyatt Kaiser or Ethan Del Mastro there. It gives a little bit more stability going into next year. So that's what I think about Kevin Korchinski.
Yeah, I think The Athletic just posted an article today about like 7 defense. Like they're saying the Hawks are going to acquire a defenseman this offseason.
Yeah.
That was made clear. And I think I agree with Tanev. One that I really would wish they would take a flyer on is Jalen Chatfield, 27 years old, plays a defensive style game, could stay at home while Korchinski plays up. And I don't think he'd cost more than like $3 million. So that's one. There's a couple that they name here that I'm not too fond of. Like, I don't really want them to go get like Brendan Dillon. I just don't think that's something that they.
You don't want a Dillon Blackhawks jersey?
Not really, honestly, not really.
Because we could have a Stevenson jersey and then a Dillon jersey.
I think that'd be pretty epic, honestly. I think that'd be quite the free agent acquisitions.
Chat, is this a W? I think so.
Justin Schultz is another intriguing one. Just from you could have a full offensive pairing, maybe put both of them on the third pair and give them both power play time, etc. Schultz is definitely a good defenseman to learn that type of game from. It'll be interesting to see what they do going forward for sure, because I have to imagine they'll stick Murphy with Kaiser or Del Mastro or something on the third pair. Vlasic Jones is kind of deadlocked at the top pair. I don't think you change that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it does leave that open slot. And they posted that article about the forwards, too. Like, I think it's a way easier to get 2 forwards who can score 15 to 20 goals than it is to get a defenseman who can play 20 minutes a night and play those 20 minutes well. Because obviously we were watching defensemen play 20 minutes a night and they stink. So don't want that. It'll be interesting because, like we keep overstating, like Davidson has a bunch of cap, and he's in a position where he can overpay like a Chris Tanev, like you mentioned. Like he can do that, and it won't hurt the team. If anything, it'll benefit it. I just hope he makes the right decisions because he can't have another year in limbo. It's just not good for the development of the kids at this point.
No, and that's the thing. I feel like they gotta, like, especially their left side is so set right now. And for the time being, Seth Jones, I think Seth Jones has really stepped up the past, I'd say, few weeks or so. I've liked how he's played. Like, I think he's had a couple stinker games, but those are the games the Blackhawks are also getting blown out as well. So, Connor Murphy, I don't know how much longer he's gonna be here for. Like, does he get traded? Like, I think he has 2 years left on his contract after this. I feel if you get another right-handed defenseman in there, like a Chris Tanev, another one, a name I like is Alexander Carrier. Like he's had very good numbers on Nashville, and he's not really an offensive defenseman. He's not he's just a guy who can move the puck and is just is solid, all around kind of thing. That could also help with Korchinski too. Just feel getting a second pairing right-handed defenseman would help. I mean, it's not going to make this defense elite by any stretch of the imagination, but again, it'll help bring stability and just stick Korchinski to one guy and learn from him kind of thing, like with Bedard and Foligno. And yeah, forwards, that's kind of what I was referencing, was those articles that I think Scott Powers has been putting out at The Athletic. I don't want to go through the whole, like all the names on the article, but the forwards are intriguing. Like Sam Reinhart still hasn't signed an extension. He's at 50 goals, and Jonathan Marchessault could be out there. I think I read in the article that like Patrick Kane, maybe he's a fit, but I think they'll easily find a forward to play with Bedard. I was like but they do have to get a defenseman for Korchinski as well.
I don't even think it's a forward playing with Bedard. It's just getting a forward who can run his own line because they're a one-line team right now. And then it would allow the shutdown line to be your third or fourth line and not your second line, which is their problem right now. The Dickinson line cannot be your second line. Yeah. As fine as that line's played this year, that's a great third line. But
yeah, you can keep that as a third line and then run your first line with Bedard and really whoever, Kurashev and whoever else. It's just, I think, you got to piece together a second line. And granted, they'll have Taylor Hall back next year. Athanasiou will hopefully be healthy and hopefully no more Taylor Radish. But yeah, I think I agree. Like, it's not even so like, I think you should get another linemate for Bedard, but I also think you need another guy on that second line. I don't know if that can kind of just drive his own play. I don't know how you find that through free agency. Maybe Jonathan Marchessault is that guy. I'm not sure. Maybe that's more so something you find in a trade, potentially Trevor Zegras. But I mean, college, like we've I think Michigan, their season ended. Like we might get Frank Nazar soon.
Well, no, the tournament starts. That was just the Big Ten tournament.
Oh yeah, that's right. So they still have that, but if that ends, then he might sign afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be in the next 2 weeks or so. If anything, he'll probably sign on for like 4 games. That would probably benefit the team anyway, because then he can push back his ELC a year or two. So
yeah.
And he'll be ready for the main thing I want him for, which is to be with Rockford for the playoff push.
Looks like they're making a push right now, yeah.
Yeah, more reps will do him good, and a team doesn't have a 1C a 1C of that caliber in Rockford right now. So it'd be interesting to see how he'd do basically getting the quarterback role on a team.
Yeah, and Ryan Green might even be an option. I feel they need like probably 2 high-end forwards in free agency, or at least 2 top 6 guys in free agency. Maybe one you get in free agency, maybe one you get a trade. But yeah, and then goaltending, Soderblom, like I've tried to be patient, but I don't think it's gonna work. They got to find another goalie. Maybe I think you need to sign just another veteran backup goalie, like whether that's Cam Talbot or whoever the hell else, just like a journeyman goalie. Sorry?
Brossois, something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wedgwood, who hasn't even been that good, but like, I don't know. Like they need someone to complement Mrazek, because there's no one there right now. It's plain and simple. And the numbers back it up. It's not like your eye test is telling you something that it's not. It's your eye test and the numbers are very conjoined at this point.
Yeah, I think it's unanimous. Like, he just has not been a good goalie at all. And we see like maybe a couple games like, oh, he's maybe turning a corner, and like it's not even inconsistency. You're just consistently bad. And like, again, goalies do take longer to develop. He's going to be 25 this summer, but how much more time do you want to give him? I think you got to get a backup for another year or two, and maybe make some competition for guys like Drew Comesso and Camp, and you have
Stauber
Adam
even.
Guyan coming on the way. Yeah, Staubert. Like, they have guys, maybe not goalies, but guys that can be backups. We've talked about this, that in the NHL, it's hard to lock down that number one elite goalie that's elite, year in, year out, like a Connor Hellebuck, like a Vasilevsky, a UC Saros. Like, those are so rare, and these guys that play 60 games for now, you see the teams like Vegas running through 3-4 goalies. You see the Avalanche a couple years back, they used, I think, platoon role like Kemper and Francois. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, unless they luck into one of their goalies just being an elite goalie, or they find one on the trade market, like, that's the route you're gonna have to go. And I mean, taking chances on guys like Drew Comesso, maybe even Jackson Stauber, and picking Adam Guy in that high, you just hope one of those guys can be decent enough where once you piece together a good team, you get a good defensive structure in front of them, like, they can just make the saves that they need to do.
Like, let's be blunt. It's not like the Hawks have ever needed an elite goalie to win. Like, Crawford was great, don't get me wrong, but he was never elite. You don't need an elite goalie to win a Stanley Cup. That's never been the case. It's usually you need the main thing you need, they have, and it's having a number one center. They have it. Just build everything else around it at this point. Like, yeah, I don't know if they have number one defenseman. That might be another thing, but they got a number two at least. And I just can't help but kind of look at how the last couple teams have won Stanley Cups. Granted, Vasilevsky has a pair in there, but like Darcy Kemper and Aiden Hill are not like the number one goalie in the league. No. Like, this is something where
it might be for Canada at the Olympics.
Yeah, right. Then, like, Bennington won. Like, Holtby was good, but like that Holtby wasn't that good the year.
Well, Holtby lost his job to Grubauer.
Exactly. And it's not about how good the goalie is. Yeah. It's about when he gets hot. Like, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. I'm not too worried about the Hawks goaltending, especially because, like, if they were good and the goaltending was the problem, yeah. Like, if it's like New Jersey right now, that might be a concern. Yeah. But well, actually, now that they have Jake Allen there, he's actually been pretty good. Solved that one too late, but
yeah, I was gonna say, like, that team could be in a playoff spot if they made that trade like 2 months earlier.
Literally make that trade in January, and you're probably in a wild card spot. Especially with the way the East is just kind of sitting on their hands.
Biggest mid-off ever. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me, I think it was the 2018-19 season where it was like the Blackhawks, it was the Coyotes, and the Avalanche that were just like mid-off for that last spot. No, you take it. No, you can have it. Like, hot potato of a final wild card spot, and that's what's happening right now. Except it feels like instead of 3 teams, it's like 5 or 6 teams, and none of them are really that good.
Yeah, like the only team that even remotely scares me is the Lightning, and it's just because it's the Lightning. Like, I don't know, man. Like, everyone talks about, like, oh, if the Islanders squeak in, like, you better watch out. But, like, I mean, really, like, the Islanders can't.
Maybe, but not really.
Yeah, like, the thing that would concern me, if anything, is that the top teams are starting to falter a little. Like, Boston hasn't looked the same the last couple months. Florida's started to look a little shaky.
Yeah.
I mean, New York really hasn't, but Carolina's looked good since the deadline. That's interesting.
That Gensel trade has really taken them over the top. I'm glad they made that kind of move like that, where they just go
time
all out.
Bomb Waddell makes a move like that. Jesus. But yeah, like, hold on, let me pull up the standings real quick because I wanted to.
So Washington is in a playoff spot right now. That is so fucking crazy.
This league sucks, dude. This league sucks. Can the Sabres like do anything, please?
Yeah, Detroit, biggest fumble of all time, and that Larkin injury hurt them so much. And at the deadline, I was like, I wanted to see them make a move, and then with Larkin out, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see why this team might just not be, ready enough yet, and you don't want to give up, high-end draft picks or prospects to make your team better when your playoff spot is not even a guarantee. But it really felt like coming into March, it was a guarantee. Like, they had a pretty firm, like, they were ahead of Tampa for a good portion. Like, I thought they had a firm lock on that, but no, they don't. They're not even in a playoff spot right now.
So, call me crazy, but I feel like there's a world where the Capitals are making the playoffs as a 3 seed, and
I mean, yeah,
These other
Philadelphia
teams
hasn't
have
been great
a lot
either.
hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
And Washington's got games in hand on everyone right now, man. They're one of the hottest teams in the sport. Granted, Carolina's really hot too. They're 8-1-1, but Washington's 7-3, and they're finding ways to win. It's not that they're winning; they're just finding ways to win. It's not just blowing your opponents out of the water. It's comebacks. Sometimes it's just shutdown hockey. Like they are finding every single way to win. And a team with that kind of moxie, with the leadership that they have, and the veteran presence that they have, that's not. I don't want to face Ovi in the playoffs. That's for sure.
I was gonna say it feels very cliche to say, but it just feels like this team has nothing to lose. I wouldn't want to face them in the first round at all. Ovechkin is heating up like crazy. Like there was a while there where I'm like, oh, was his father time finally caught up to Ovechkin? Like, is he gonna beat Gretzky's? Yeah, we should just stop having that discussion because it hasn't happened yet. Like he's heating up like crazy. Charlie Lindgren has taken over Darcy Kemper for that should show you how much voodoo surgery and bullshit goaltending is. Like, I'm pretty sure the Capitals gave Kemper a 5x5, and then their backup Charlie Lindgren is just on insanity run right now.
Yeah, they're the most. I don't even know how to describe that team, honestly. Like, you would look at their stats and you're like, okay, they have a couple scores. Like, how are they winning hockey games? Like, and you just watch them. It's the old joke. It's the power of friendship, baby.
Hell yeah! They're one of the most more perplexing teams I've seen in a while that's in a playoff spot because nothing about like their stats suggests that they're good. I don't even think the advanced stats, but like they just find, yeah. Analytics nerds hate this team for this reason, like the Capitals for this reason, and it's Alex Ovechkin scoring goals in the left circle with no one covering him. It's so perplexing. They traded away guys at the deadline. They got rid of Joel Edmondson. They got rid of Evgeny Kuznetsov. They like Nick Backstrom retired at the beginning of the year. Like they've lost so many pieces to this franchise that was such a big part of their team for the last 10, 15 years, even like a team that finally won the cup in 2018 and a team that consistently made the playoffs, won divisions and won President's Trophy. And it's crazy that we kind of looked at Pittsburgh as, oh, this is their last shot at things with Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and then they get Erik Karlsson. And Capitals, it feels like they've kind of been in this rebuilding state, and they're there. I feel if they make the playoffs, Spencer Carberry's got to be at worst, at least in the running for Jack Adams, because that's just, I still don't know how they're there right
now. They're one of the most intriguing stories I can remember in a playoff push in a long time, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know how it plays out, but just looking at games in hand, like not even the wild, like you said it, like not even the wild card. They might get to number 3 and play Carolina.
They just beat Carolina.
So hot. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think they're gonna win a playoff series, but man, just one last shot for Ovi to be in the playoffs. That would be cool to see.
I kind of want Carolina to leapfrog the Rangers so you can get Rangers versus Washington first round.
For one last time. It feels like we've seen that.
No Lundqvist to stop Ovechkin this time. It's just a Sturkin. Or Jonathan Quick.
Oh my God, Jonathan Quick. Oh, and yeah, speaking of, like, Jonathan Quick basically carried that team for the first few months, and then Shesterkin's like, yeah, I'm back on my shit again. I'm in my Duffy right now, as the children say.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the player stats this year. It's so crazy. Just thinking back to 2014-15 when Jamie Benn won the Art Ross with 87 points. There's already 10 guys that are above that, and there's still 10 plus games to be played. Like there's gonna be at least another 10 players that pass that. It's so crazy. But looking at the President's Trophy race, like there's no Boston from last year. There's 7 teams, so there's 5 teams that have 97 points, and then 2 teams with 98 points. Like this is almost, it's like a trade-off. We have the year where we're getting crazy offense around the NHL, kind of like we were last year. We're in an offensive renaissance, but just looking at the President's Trophy race, it feels like the Jamie Benn year. No team, like, feels every other week like it's been rotating out of the President's Trophy spot. But Yeah, Vancouver's number one right now. The Rangers are tied with them. Like Boston was number one for a while, so was Florida, but now they're in set. Like it's just you can't call it a mid off, but like there's no team that's just like Boston last year that's just so far ahead and having an amazing regular season. Like it's pretty
It's
close.
exactly what Bettman wanted, dude. It's a lead there.
Yeah,
except for the bottom four.
Yeah, and just looking at the playout, like nothing is locked in. Like we've had a couple of years where it's like, especially with the 2 and 3 seeds, it's like division winners so far ahead, and then you have the wild cards that are so far behind. It's like, oh, we know who 2 and 3 is. Atlantic Division, Toronto's basically locked into number 3, but whether that's Florida or Boston that they're gonna play, I don't know. What would you prefer to see? Would you want to see Boston Toronto first round, or do you want to see Florida Toronto first round?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm good with either.
Kind of think Florida, just because Florida really punched them in the mouth last year, and I want to see how the Leafs respond to that, because they really did try to build a team to counter Florida. So if they end up
Edmonton, yeah.
I mean, Boston would be fun too, but like Bergeron's not there anymore. Like that's just, the vibe's not the same as it used to be. Obviously, it will be as soon as Pastrnak snipes one on him in game one.
Or Marchand, both.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that the way Florida's built, the fact that they just went to the Cup last year, like it'd be really interesting, because if the Leafs can bounce the Eastern Conference champions round one, that's some weight on your or off your shoulders, and it's going to give you some moxie going forward.
That's like slaying the dragon, yeah, and like running that momentum, because we see teams that just beat other teams that have given them so much pain, and at the worst that can bring you to the Cup final. Like I think of the Canucks beating the Blackhawks in 2011, like that momentum they got from winning that series finally brought them all the way to the Game 7 of the Cup final, and then like the Capitals beating the Penguins finally, that brought them to a Stanley Cup. Like you can see how much like weight is lifted off your shoulders doing that, and just it frees your mind, and then it's like, oh, we can do anything, and that can carry you such a far away. I mean, you can't go wrong. Like there's gonna be some kind of there's a combination of teams of Tampa, Florida, Boston, Toronto. Like if we can get any combination of those teams playing, like if we get Battle Florida first round, I'm good with that. If we get Boston, Toronto first round, I'm good with that. But I could go either way. Like I could go Florida, Toronto. I could go Boston, Tampa Bay as well. East, yeah, it would be cool to see Rangers and Capitals, because that is something that could happen. And Carolina, Philadelphia is kind of the one where like, kind of boring, but meh.
Yeah, here's my thing, dude. Like Carolina's been that team that I think has always had the potential to get over the hump, and I think this is the year they might do it, just because they're healthy, they're deep as shit, and now they have they have another top 6 forward, which is something that they've always lacked when it comes to playoff time. And guess what? What's always been the problem with the Hurricanes once they get deep in the playoffs? Their stars get quiet.
Bloody goals. Yeah.
Why don't you go get the guy who had 17 goals when the Penguins won the Cup a couple of years ago?
One of the best goal scorers in playoff history. No hyperbole, no exaggeration there.
Yup. I don't know, man. Carolina is going to be very interesting, and they're white hot right now. Like they're going to be you look at teams that get hot at the right time, and it's so huge. Like look at Nashville right now, dude. Like Nashville is,
oh my Lord,
they're about to recreate 2017 at this rate, for God's sake. Like it's crazy. But going on runs like that right before the playoffs are huge. I can't stress that enough. Hell, look at what even on a smaller scale, like the Blue Jackets did that a couple years ago. In the final 10 games, they went. Yep. Ugh. Yeah, I can't stress.
The one good thing they've done, like in their franchise history.
Yeah. I just can't. I can't stress enough how important these final 10 games are. You could, especially with how deadlocked the wild card is right now. One team going 7-3 changes the entire landscape of this, and I'm wondering which team's going to do it. Because who knows? Like, what the way this conference is going, if New Jersey can figure it out, they might be right back in the mix. It just all depends on who gets hot and who doesn't. And there has to be one or the other. You know what I mean? So
yeah, right now that seems like Washington, but I bet we do a podcast next week and it's entirely different.
Guys, I think Columbus is going to make the playoffs. Just kidding.
Even though I'm pretty sure they were mathematically eliminated.
Yeah,
Guys, the
Sens
Blackhawks
still
are making
have
the
a
playoffs.
chance. There we go. That's the team that's going to win it all. They just beat Edmonton. Time for the hot streak for the 30 and 36 Senators.
Guys, the summer of Pierre's finally going to pay off.
Summer of Pierre, 2 summers later. Let's go.
He was just ahead of his time, and we didn't realize it. It's like the picture of Jesus. Most of him rejected his message. Shut up, Pierre Dorion.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Tampa Bay, there was a while where like they might miss and we might get like the 11th, 12th, 13th pick. They're making the playoffs now. And well, I don't think they're gonna go far. They're gonna give a team some trouble in the first round for sure, because Kucherov is just so nasty. Like that game they played against Vegas where Vegas dominated them and then Kucherov makes 2 plays and it's over and they win that game. That's what they can do. And that's what might win them the Hart in one of the most crowded years for that award maybe ever.
Right. And it's not only is it a wide open President's Trophies race, the freaking Hart is wide open right now.
I mean, I could hear arguments for McKinnon. I probably right now I'm leaning Kucherov just because like McKinnon you can go like Kucherov has 123 points. Like I'm pretty sure he's factored in on 50%, over 50% of Tampa Bay's goals this year. Nathan McKinnon, it's always it can be a very narrative driven award. Like Nathan McKinnon never has won a Hart before. This could be the year. And then Connor McDavid is going to do something this year that only 3 other players in NHL history has done, and that's get 100 assists in one season. And he might not even finish second in Hart voting. It's crazy. And then any other year, like David Pastrnak, 99 points, Artemi Panarin, 99 points. Like Austin Matthews is on pace for 70 goals scored, and he might not even get top 5. Like he might barely get top 5. It's amazing. We're in a renaissance right now of NHL goal scoring, and I don't even know what to say. Like
it's a good time to be a hockey fan. Let's just put that.
Yeah. We're back to like I was gonna say we're back to the 80s of goal scoring where it's like, I mean, scoring 50 goals is a crazy achievement, but now it's like David Pastrnak got 60 plus goals last year and we don't even talk about it that much. Like it more so speaks to how many good players it is, and it's like, oh, you scored 50 goals, that's nothing. Like that's still a great achievement.
Yeah, it's already it's nothing. Zach Hyman just did it. Duh. It's just like when Nuge got 100 points. 100 points is a ballot now.
Yeah, and I don't think that that like even Nugent Hopkins last year, I think that's a thing that hurts those guys for recognition on that team, because it's so McDavid heavy, Draisaitl heavy. It's like, oh, and then this guy just scored 50 goals. This guy got 100 points last year. Yeah, it's Zach Hyman. He's got to be, I don't know, the best free agent signing of the cap era, but like he's got to be at least top 5 in there. I remember when he signed that contract back in 2021, that free agency, I was like, oh, that just feels like another typical Oilers decision. Like, yeah, it might be good the first couple of years, but and it might even still be like that where he has 3-4 very good years and then the last 3 aren't great. I hope he doesn't get injured or anything, but it feels like Zach Hyman's just aged like a fine wine. I think his career high going to that free agency was 20 goals, and first year put up a solid season. Last year he goes point per game, almost has 40 goals, and then now this year he legitimately has a shot for 60 goals, especially with the pace that he's scoring at right now, and he's going to be point per game again. And like he's going to be like, I think he's a lock to make the Canadian Olympic team just by virtue that he plays with McDavid, but he's legitimately a good player in their own right. And I think most of it is joking, but it's so funny to me to see all the tweets. It's like, oh, they're all all his goals are tap-ins, and I'm like, yeah, but it's so hard to get to the front of the net. And if any other player did this, like if Zach Hyman was on your team and he scored 50 goals, like you're celebrating like that like crazy. So I mean, congrats to Zach Hyman, and even Sam Reinhart, like UFA year. I don't know what kind of money he's gonna get, but yeah, it's crazy the amount of goal scoring we'd get, and we're due at least like I would say 3 more, because McKinnon's at 44, Pasternak's 44. Like Pastrnak is gonna get back to back 50 goals plus goal seasons, and we're not even talking about that much. And same with Panarin. It's crazy.
for sure. Like there's been at least a handful of signings in the last 5 years that are going to have a long-lasting impact on teams in a positive way. And Hyman's probably at the top of that list. One that I think is not going to get enough credit, but will if he wins the Vezina this year is Sergei Bobrovsky. Basically carried them to the Cup final last year. Besides Tkachuk being clutch, like Bobrovsky had a 930. He was on his Pekka Rinne shit in the playoffs. Yeah. Panarin's also tremendous. Like it doesn't get better than that.
Last year's Vezina winner Linus Ullmark also free agent signing.
Yeah, very good free agent signing. One that I think goes under the radar a tad bit is Philip Deneau. I think that was another really good one. Another one under the radar is Pavelski with the Stars. I think that really elevated the team entirely. A lot of these don't have championships to back it up yet, but I think there's a world where they have the potential to win championships with that.
Alex Pietrangelo, if we want to talk championships.
Oh, yeah, Alex Pietrangelo, 100%, dude. That was like Vegas's first move of, okay, we're just going to not care about the salary cap. Because they made stuff to just be good before. That's one of the ones where it's just like, yeah, we're just going to get.
We do not care at all. Like, they made the Mark Stone trade. It's like, yeah, but we gave up like that was just like, we don't care. We're moving anyone to get the new shiny toy, and it's worked out.
And that's like we get stressed all the time. That's what you want your GM to do. That's what you want.
Your sports team
every year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
give
he's definitely up there with free agent signings. Zach Hyman.
Another underrated one, Matt Zuccarello to the Wild.
Oh yeah, that was a good signing. It was, I feel like one of those signings where we all just kind of looked at it and went, "Really? Huh? Okay."
Yeah, I think he's a free agent again this year. So I don't know, because he signed back in 2019. Either he signed 5.
I think he extended.
He's either up this year.
I think he extended.
He might have. I can't keep up. It's too much.
But
good for him though. Because
you're right. Max Zuccarello was a great signing. Yeah, Matt Zuccarello, 2 years, 4.15. 1.25. Sorry, 4.125.
I mean, and as Blackhawks fans, we can go back to 2009 and like Marian Hossa. Yeah, he didn't play out the full contract, but 3 championships. Again, if you want to look at an example of rings, there you go.
Notice how we didn't name John Tavares in any of those.
We've already been talking about the Leafs enough today. A certain Leafs fan was included in a triggered Liberals video. So, yeah. So I was talking to Dilla before the show about I was setting him the link on Twitter to get into the StreamYard, and my top 3 trending were Shohei Ohtani because it was a gambling translator. And then the second one was politics. Underneath it said Dangle because Steve Dangle was included in a triggered Liberals video because, like, I don't know, Trump is like in prison or something and like bail money, and instead of like $400 million, it's like $100 million now. It's like, oh, the Liberals are triggered. We got to find more people that are triggered. Oh, here's this screamy, yelly Leafs fan. Let's put them in there without them actually, realizing who it is. Which is hilarious and
dreamy yelly Leafs.
And then yeah, so that was, I found that funny.
It was very funny, dude. That made my whole day because I didn't see it at first, right? Mm-hmm. I was just like, oh, okay, funny, ha ha ha. Something about politics being stupid. Nope, it's just Dangle being the radical left, which we always knew.
Of course, he lives in woke Canada. Are we not surprised?
He literally has a pride flag in his background. Excuse me.
What's next? Now he's gonna say he's vaccinated. Like, where does it end?
Oh my gosh. SDP, more like SD woke. Hate this.
Social I don't know. Social
deplatform.
There you go. Let's go with that. It's just like how ours is PJS, Political Justice System Cast. That's what we're really all about here. So we kind of, Yeah, we kind of touched on Ovechkin heating up. We talked about Zach Hyman hitting 50 goals, yada yada yada, all that stuff. I want to quickly touch on Alex Nylander's Linsanity run in Columbus, which
All
is
right,
just.
we'll see you next week, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. Give us a 5-star rating and peace out, y'all. So we did. I remember I did the podcast with Mitch and Jacob. Mitch, who's obviously a Vegas, freaking works for the team, has a cup ring. Like, that is so cool. I'm jealous. Was watching the game, and I think that was the first. It was either like one of the first couple games that he was a Blue Jacket, and then scored 2 goals that game. And we're recording the podcast. He's like, "Oh, damn it, Nylander scored again." But it looks like his Linsanity run has come to an end. He scored 2 goals and assist against the Sharks on the 16th in the last 4 games. 0, 0, 0, 0. Including -3, -2, -1. So -6 and 0 points in his last 4 games. That's Alex Nylander I know. I don't really know what else to say about that.
Like, good for him, I guess, but like,
you had your moment in the spotlight.
If you were to tell any Blue Jacket fan this year that the 2 biggest bright spots on the team, actually 3, I'll throw 3 in there, were going to be freaking Dmitry Voronkov, freaking
I never
Alex
heard of
Nylander,
yeah,
and then we'll do a 2-way tie between Chinakhov and Marchenko.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with a team that has Adam Fantilli, Patrick Laine, Johnny Gaudreau, Zach Rowinski was healthy again.
David Yurchek, Ken Johnson, yada yada yada, so on.
What an enigma of a team! I can't stress enough. Like, I need Kyle Davidson to look at that and just be like, you got, like, there's accumulating all these draft picks and stuff, and then it's making it all work on the ice because you can't just I don't know. I'm not going to get too deep in on the Blue Jackets, but you get my drift.
Yeah. It feels like Nylander just kind of personifies that whole franchise. Like, the talent and skill is there, but it's never used on a consistent basis because, well, their coaches don't put them and management don't put them in a position to succeed. I mean, Nylander has had the chances, but okay, maybe wasn't that with the best comparison, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's skill there, but it's not harnessed all the time, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
Man, if only that wasn't in the bio of Alex Nylander when he got drafted.
Yeah. And then traded for, and then traded for again, and then traded for again.
Can't believe Henry Jokiharju got traded for a 2nd-round pick. That's crazy. Down the trade. I can't wait to do the trade tree on the Henry Jokiharju trade.
Don't you mean Henry Wokiharju? Oh, glad he's not on my team.
Wait, okay. And if I'm even remembering this even further, didn't the Hawks trade for the Jokiharju pick and traded out of the Ottinger pick? If I'm remembering this correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're right.
Someone needs to make a trade tree on this crap because it's just like a nightmare for the Blackhawks all the way around.
Radical leftist Steve Dangle, get on that right now.
Lit rally, bro, please. In the offseason happens, I'm gonna message him every day. Sam Lafferty trade tree win.
I need my Bernie bro to go off.
Good Lord.
So let's move on to our next topic here. An interesting tidbit that came from the GM meetings is that Amazon is doing like a behind the scenes series that's supposed to be out in fall. Like, they're doing it right now. They're filming it right now. And it sounds like they've done already a couple players, and then they might do more in the playoffs. And they said they're going to follow 10 to 12 players. I mean, all in all, that's such a huge win for hockey because we always never get to see these guys' personalities, and like it'll just be nice to see raw, unfiltered. Well, maybe not like completely like unfiltered, like there will be censored and stuff, but like just dudes being dudes, you know. I'm thinking of the Amazon documentary that they did with the Leafs. Like, that was so controlled by the Leafs. I don't think teams have a say on any of that anymore. So it's just the players being the players. I don't know it would be so cool if they did Connor Bedard. I don't know if that's happening. Maybe that's another time that happens if they do something like that, if this is a huge success, but it would be so cool for Connor Bedard as an 18-year-old rookie to be part of that. But I'm thinking I think they've done something with the Edmonton boys. Like I think they did something. They're going to do something with McDavid and Draisaitl. I think they might do Colorado with McKinnon and Rantanen or Makar, like any combination of those guys. Toronto, I think they would do Matthews and Nylander, and I think in Boston
They
would
would do Mitch Marner, thank you.
or Mitchy Marner drinking his
Magic Mitchy Marner, thank you very much.
Drinking his Mountain Dew, yeah. Well, those are kind of the names that popped into my mind. Who are some guys for you that would be good for a format like this?
Did you mention Pastrnak and Marchand?
Yes, I did. Well, okay. Pastrnak, but yes.
Yeah, if you're gonna do the duos thing, I think those two would be great. I think people probably don't want it, but they'll watch it. I think you could do Kucherov. That would be fun. Like,
oh yeah,
especially
people will hate watch it.
Just going ballistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, that would be really good. I think doing one in Dallas with like Robertson, Hintz, and Heiskanen and all them. Maybe just following one, but like it allows you to follow the team.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that would be interesting would be like Hellebuck. You do like a goalie. I don't know if they're going to do goalie. I think it might be just skaters, but
yeah,
I think that would be extremely interesting. And I'll go a little bit minor with this one. I think Cole Caulfield would be a lot of fun for them to follow.
Any of the former US NTDP guys, like you could do Jack Hughes on the Devils, you could do Zegras on the Devils.
Oh, they could do the Hughes brothers in general. Just do all three of them.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they definitely have options.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you're ever to get to like basketball level or football level of like following these guys around, but there's so clearly guys that are superstar that have personalities, and we just don't follow them much. Like you talk about Dallas, like a lot of these southern teams. Like I would even throw Vegas in there. I feel it's kind of the same thing with Kucherov. I don't know what particular players you would get off Vegas, but like I don't know, Jack Eichel or like John, or like maybe you do the original Golden Knights, like you do Marchessault, you do Carlson, you follow them around, and people hate watch. It's like, oh, I fucking hate Vegas, but they're so good, I'm gonna watch it anyways.
Did you say the Tkachuk brothers also?
Oh, like yeah, you could do that. Oh, yeah, Florida, you can do Tkachuk. Like that's the thing. There's so many options, but again, it's only 10, 12 people they're gonna do, but there are options out there
for sure.
And like I really like the duos idea of just like following two people around and not just one person.
I got another fun one.
Just like in Fortnite, am I right, fellas?
I don't know if they do this one, but I think Fleury would be a lot of fun too. Just
100%.
Have Fleury mic'd up the whole year. Like that would be a blast, and you get to see his family and stuff. It'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up getting Nick Foligno.
Yeah, just see all the pranks he pulls, because I know he's a prankster.
He's just a little rascal.
Just a little rapscallion. The Capitals, I think, would be interesting to follow right now. Just Ovechkin without having those main guys from like all those years that they were contenders. Like the team kind of changing, but him still being there and going on a hot streak. Do that as well. Yeah, there's totally options out there. And I'm really curious. I don't think they've. Like, I'm pretty sure they've already recorded, but they haven't listed what players they're using. So, it's about damn time, because I think they were talking about how Gary Bettman was like, "Oh no, like we need to do this." Like, that's how far hockey is behind is. It's like you even have your own commissioner who's just so like does everything in his power to stop this sport from growing. It's like, yeah, we need to get like mics in the faces of these players. And the thing, like up here in Canada, like hockey's always a big thing, but I just feel it's so stagnant. Like they follow that. It's so stagnating that we don't get to see more of like McDavid. Like I still think we can see more of guys like Matthews, Marner, and Nylander, and the States. They are trying more of that stuff. It's just I want to see more of it. Give me all the content of these players behind the scenes.
Right. Like this is the type of stuff the NHL should have been doing for a long time, and I'm glad they're finally starting to do it. I won't complain about how long it took. Just make it good and actually market it. Right.
Yeah, let's start somewhere, I guess.
Exactly. Baby steps.
Do you remember NHL 36 where they would follow players? It was usually players, but I remember they did one on the Blackhawks in 2013. It's like, what happened that we just stopped doing that? People, I loved watching it.
No more NBC Sports. And also NBC Sports just stopped caring in the back end.
Mm-hmm.
So that too. But yeah, those NHL 36 were so much fun. You could see them still on YouTube. I think the Bergeron one I thought was a lot of fun specifically.
There was one of Nick Lidstrom, and then there was one on the entire 2013 Blackhawks team where I think they follow like Andrew Shaw for a bit. I think they followed Joe Quenneville, if I remember correctly.
One with Patrick Kane from like 2012. Yeah, more stuff like that. It allows you to see the personality of these players that you never get to see because they're robots on the ice.
Yeah.
So.
And even like ESPN commercials from like when the lockout ended in 2005, like you see Ovechkin on an ESPN commercial. I'm pretty sure Crosby was in commercials as well. And like there's been examples of it in the past, but it feels like there was just like this big void for the past decade and nothing, and then now we're finally starting to do it. So I mean, better late than never. But yeah, what happened? This should have been a thing for a while now.
Right. It's all right. Better late than never.
Yeah. Because they're doing players, I wonder what team would be the most interesting to do. What team would want to do that kind of like an like what Toronto did a few years back.
Carolina,
yeah. I feel a team that's been not like Edmonton would be interesting. Like a team that's been knocking on the door but hasn't won a cup with their core right now. Because like, I mean, I guess Vegas would be cool, but they've already won. Like there needs to be, I think, drama and tension. Like if you did it this year and like you do it with Edmonton, Carolina, even Dallas, those teams that just been knocking on the door, and you get to, witness 4 rounds of them, grinding through all the ups and downs. Like that would be so cool to witness. And even just in future years.
For sure. It's a great building block for going forward.
It's so easy to be like pessimistic about hockey for so many ways, but you just see little things like these. It's like we're very slowly but surely growing. Like whether that's women's hockey, and the NHL, we're starting to get international play again. Like I think things are starting to heal again, and now we're starting to get more insight into these hockey players' life, these superstars. So it's nice to see that. I don't really have I don't have much else to say about that topic. We can move on to some Twitter questions here. So Jacob asked this question: who's the biggest disappointment? One from every single sport. And then Tanner replies, and why are they all based in Toronto? Well, there's not an NFL team in Toronto. Unless we're talking about the Argos, but I'm pretty sure the Argos are good from what I remember. So I don't know if we can talk about that. Oh man.
All right. Let's rattle this one off. Most disappointing in hockey?
Devils.
Are we talking team or player?
I would guess it doesn't specify. I guess we could do both. We could do team and player.
No, team, you're right. It's the Devils, 100%. Player, I just had his name in my mind and it slipped. It just slipped my mind, dude. I had one on my tongue.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Couldn't have been more clear that he's having a rough year. Like, not what you want to see. Oh, I know who I was going to say now. It's a tie. And I'm going to hope the latter is injury, I think. But Shesterkin and Vasilevsky, extremely disappointing this year.
Yeah.
I
think Vasilevsky, I think Vasilevsky has been playing better just by the Lightning playing better. But yeah, kind of. Really, for most goaltending except for Hellebuck. Well, again, it's such a high-scoring NHL, but yeah, Shesterkin had I don't think Sorokin has been great either. Yeah, the guys we usually expect to be at the top aren't great. Yeah, So Shesterkin has a 912. That's okay. Saros 909. It's like above average, but it's not great. Sorokin 907. Yeah, that's disappointing. Man, it's crazy. Like Hellbuck is at a 920, and that's it. There's a bunch of 919s and 900s, and then
It's a sign of the league, dude. That's really
Mhm.
what it is.
friggin' Peter Mrazek has a better save percentage than like Tristan Jarry, Georgiev on the Avs, better save percentage than Fleury. Yeah, great. Oh my! I didn't know it was that bad. Vasilevsky has an 897.
Yep, told you. Like it's disappointing this year.
I didn't know it was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Not ideal. Not ideal to say the least.
No. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. I didn't know it was that bad. Okay, so that's for hockey. So yeah, I would say for me, Devils most disappointing team, and then most disappointing player. Yeah, probably Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for each sport.
Football's easy. Most disappointing player is Trevor Lawrence. I don't care. This is biased because he was my fantasy quarterback, but yeah, Trevor Lawrence, Mr. Franchise that threw like 20 interceptions this year. Yeah, and then for team, I mean, injuries plagued them, but like the Bengals were really disappointing this year. But like,
they were
from their standard. They like, I guess, the Chargers were extremely disappointing. Like they have all the pieces, and they went 5-12 or something. Like they were terrible. And then I guess the Giants too, because the Giants had expectations because they made the playoffs and they fell off a cliff. So one of those teams for sure.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'll take baseball, I guess. I could see. I'm trying to be optimistic about the Jays. Like all the things are going well with them in spring training. They're hitting homers. They're getting in runs. And their pitching looks good, despite a couple of injuries in their bullpen. But I mean, I could see a scenario where they get a couple injuries and things fall off. And with Bo and Vladdy in their last couple of years of team control, if things don't go well this year, I think they could be a huge disappointment. So I guess I'll go with that. For player, I don't know, to be honest, for who that would be for baseball.
Biased answer, Tim Anderson last year.
If we want to go last year, there are at least 5 teams that are more disappointing than what the Blue Jays did last year. That would be San Diego, be the Mets, the Yankees. Okay, maybe not 5, but there's 3 right there.
Oh, but that was 3 big ones right off the bat, and I agree with the Padres. Like that team should have been way better than what the record.
Dude, they should have won a World Series. Like that team was so stacked with, and I mean,
still stacked.
They're still pretty. They don't have Soto, but like they're.
Oh no, they just got Dylan Cease instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that Dylan Cease trade, but this year I could see the Blue Jays being a disappointment. I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic. As for a player, I genuinely can't think of a player because there's so many bloody players. Mike Trout, because he just stays in with the Angels, and that disappoints me. We'll go with that,
basketball's not a real sport. Next question.
Basketball. I don't know anything about basketball about a team that would be disappointing or a player, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, next question. I should have. This is a good question from Zach here. Who do you think would be sleeper guys for the Calder next year, assuming the top college guys sign as well?
Will Smith.
Yeah, well, I mean, Will Smith, that's the easy one because he's just fucking tearing it up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if on the same level, but Ryan Leonard maybe.
I could see it.
Man,
sure.
I don't think it happens because I don't think he'll sign with the Caps. But like, imagine he just signs with the Caps late year and helps that playoff run. That would be a cool story. Right. I gotta look through the last couple of drafts. I'm just tripping. Like an easy one would be to say Celebrini from this year, but like I'm trying to think the last couple
Like
years
Savoy,
here.
maybe for Buffalo.
Yeah, Savoy's a good one. Yeah. I do Frank. Oh fuck it, we'll go Frank Nazar too.
Let's go, baby. Frankie mentioned. That's what I like to hear.
Hell yeah! Oh yeah, and I remember Miroshnichenko has been playing for the Caps, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm. He had a snipe against the Oilers a couple games ago.
Yeah,
Point
I
blank.
remember watching that.
Nice.
Oh, Cutter Gauthier, he's like goal per game in college right now. Crazy.
Yup. There's gonna be some hot names coming in. Let's put it that way. And that's not even taking into account people potentially coming over from Europe that we're not even talking about. Like, I feel like if
we might not even know of.
Yeah, because I just don't know the deals and contracts overseas right now. But I know there's a couple guys overseas where if they make the jump, it could be interesting to say the least.
Xavier Bourgault, because I met him at the airport, and then he's gonna play well, and then hope the Oilers win a cup. We'll go with that. Yeah, those are a list of guys. Again, there's a lot of young talent, but I don't think there's like a clear cut guy. I mean, it might be just be Celebrini, but where do you? So this is from Tate, who still has a Reese Johnson fan. I respect the commitment to the bit. Where do you rank Lindstrom, Lifshunov, and Demidov? And if the Hawks stay at 2, who do you believe Davidson will pick? Well, I mean, I would prefer Lifshunov, but to me, it's a coin toss. Roll the dice. Like you could pick either one of them, and I'll be happy. Like that's my top 3 right now. It's. I know I'm being a little brave here by putting Celebrini number 1, and then number 2 Lifshunov, then probably number 3 Kane Lindstrom. Demidov, like I would have him probably number 4. I just don't know if the Blackhawks would take him, but it would be cool. That would be Connor Bedard's line mate. But I think just looking at how the Kyle Davidson, the Blackhawks have drafted the past couple years, like Kane Lindstrom fits the profile. Like I think Davidson wants to get some more big forwards in there. Lindstrom definitely fits that bill. He skates very well. Has the compete and work ethic, and if everything falls in place, like that's a potentially, I don't know, like that could be a Quentin Byfield level center, which would be pretty good. Lifshunov, just kind of a guy who does everything well. Again, the compete level, good skater. Like that's could be a potential number 1 defenseman right there, like a Charlie McAvoy kind of thing. Just great in all situations. I think Davidson would be a fan of that. Demidov, I don't know so much, but I mean, if somehow they like get out of a top 4, like if they're on number 4 and both those guys are taken, maybe that's part of the equation. But I would think just seeing how they've drafted, like I would think Lindstrom and Lifshunov would be at the top of the list. I would even add guys like Silyaev. I would add Sam Dickinson, and another Dickinson on the team. I don't know if I would think like I don't think Yakym drops far, but like if he somehow drops to the Tampa pick, Davidson would be all over that. So that's what I think. What about you?
So the more I watch this team, the more I am starting to lean towards they need to take a forward with pick 2. I think, well, I'm just biased. I think Caden Lindstrom would just fit what Bedard needs on his wing perfectly. Like, look at what Nick Foligno's doing at like an adequate level. I just think someone with that kind of size can transform Bedard's game to a level that we aren't even seeing yet. And Lindstrom's games too, to that matter. So he's probably number 1 for me. I just think Davidson's an upside guy too. So I think Davidoff's upside is going to be something that he's really going to have to take a look at. We already knew he wasn't afraid to take Michkov if he was in that situation last year.
Yeah.
I think that was what he was alluding to prior to winning a lottery. I could see that being a situation again this year, even if it takes like 2 years for him to get over, or 3 years, whatever it'll be. You got to think long term with these kind of picks. It's not just about the short term. And I just think the upside on Davidoff's crazy, and he continues to put up elite numbers. And all
I would say, I would say probably the second highest upside in the class besides Celebrini.
Yep. And then there's nothing against Levshunov. I just think it's he's like he does everything well, but he doesn't do anything really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it,
No, I could see that. Yeah.
like I'm not trying to compare him to this type of player because I like his game a lot. I just think I think back a couple years to Alex Turcotte, right? It's not the same type of situation, but Turcotte was a player who did everything pretty well, like really well, but did nothing elite. He didn't have anything that he did elite. And I guess you could say his competitive level for Lev Shanov's elite, but like I don't really know how you can gauge that. So if Davidson really is hell bent on getting that right-handed defenseman for the future, do it. I don't really care. But he's probably 4 on my list right now. I just think getting Bedard a winger is
fair.
much more important. And you could potentially get a defenseman in free agency for all we know. So
yeah, just everything I've heard, like Shudov might be and again, I don't think they should go in like, oh, we need a player for next year, but like just him, like he might be ready for the NHL right now. He just does everything well. Like I think that could be a thing. Like and there's some cases where there isn't a trait that can stick out, but I feel like in the case of defensive, we see what Brock Faber is doing. Like I don't think he's particularly great at one thing. Like he's very good at everything, but I mean he's been a top pairing defenseman and that definitely should get Calder love, and that I think that could be said for Lev Shunov as well. So I think forward, it's more of that would be more of a concern for me, but I also see where you're going from because they need. Ideal world, they get number one, you get Celebrini, you get your dynamic duo, you get your 1-2 punch, etc. But they still do need Bedard's Robin. Like you need his line mate that he's going to be going with for the next decade here.
100%.
Yeah, I think Lindstrom or Demidov fits that, both different players, but both would fulfill that need.
100%. And then obviously if they get number one, this is easy, but that's a given.
Well, we were supposed to have Scott Wheeler on. I don't know when that's gonna happen. We were supposed to have him on last week, that didn't work, but like I'm gonna see if we can get Mitch Brown on, maybe get some more insight because there's a top end for forwards, which is for me is Celebrini. He's in a tier of his own, and then I would group Lindstrom and Demidov together. And you got a bunch of defensemen. You have Lev Shunov, who I think is a little better than everyone else, but I think you have guys with upside like Dickinson. You have Anton Silyayev, even Zane Perrick. I don't know about guys like Carter Yakimchuk or Zia Buyum. Like I don't know if you pick them top 5. I don't know if they would target them just because I think they seem like kind of 6, 7, 8 range where the Blackhawks won't be picking there. So, but. Then there's other defensemen that are kind of in the mid-round range, like Adam Yurchek, who faced an injury, could be all right. Same with Aaron Kiviharyu, who was, you might have been a first overall pick a couple years back, but now he's kind of fallen the mid-round. So there's a lot of defensive options, especially if you want to take a forward up top. Like that's the thing. You got the options. I'm confident with whoever they pick, but I think, if you're just looking across the board, number one priority is getting Connor Bedard, his just making that dynamic duo there.
For sure.
That's it for the Twitter questions, unless you got anything more to touch on that.
No, I'm all good.
All right. Let's do it. Let's get into some Reddit stories here. Probably should have done a better job of having one saved. Oh, here's one. Am I the asshole for trying to sleep on a plane? Let's see where this goes.
Me every
I was on a Am I the asshole for falling asleep on the plane? This guy was trying to play Angry Birds and then I got in his way. I was on a flight today and started having migraine. Oh goddamn, I can't imagine that would be fun. Put down my tray table and rested my head on it. Then the person in front of me suddenly tried to recline her seat, and it must have met with some resistance with my head. I don't know if it fully reclined or not, but a few minutes later she slammed it back, and this time it hit my head. Not hard enough to hurt, but hard enough to startle me out of my sleep. Whoa! Whoa. I sat bolt upright. She turned around and looked at me and said something which I assumed was an apology, but I couldn't hear because the plane was loud. I scooted back further in the trade to avoid another direct hit, which I didn't think would impact her ability to recline, and resumed nursing my migraine. As I was getting off the plane, she was waiting in the jet bridge for me and said, "You're an asshole for holding up the seat." I said, "I wasn't holding up the seat. I was just trying to rest." And she repeated her assertion that I was an asshole. I said I was really confused and was just trying to sleep and walked up saying, "Nope, asshole." Am I the asshole? ETA, I just want to clarify that I did not think the person was an asshole for reclining. I know the seats recline and never fault someone in front of me for doing so, even though I rarely do. I wasn't even mad about getting bopped on the head. Also, at no point did I actively push back on her. I just fell asleep is all. I scooted back as soon as I was awake enough to realize that what she was trying to do. As far as I could tell, she was able to fully recline for the remainder of the fight. First thing I think of, you got to get a neck pillow if you didn't have one. That's the best way, I think. But what do you think about that? You fly way more frequently than I do, so I want to hear your thoughts.
I promise you, if I ever fell asleep like that and someone bitched at me about not being able to put the recliner back, I'd just smile and go back to sleep. And then if they waited for me off the plane, I'm getting security. Because fuck you. You don't get to wait for me off the plane like some freak. Jesus. Like,
or push her off.
Go tell that to your therapist. I really don't care. Like, I promise you, that person that yelled at her should just be so grateful that this person is actually nice. Because if you caught me on a bad day, I'm blowing up on you. That's how that's working. You're calling me an asshole because I'm trying to sleep and you want to move your fucking chair back. Get fucked, honestly. Fucking have some decency. Jesus Christ. Oh no, you couldn't recline your chair back 10 feet or 10 inches, not even. It's like this much, Pierce. It's like this much the chair goes back. You're telling me you needed that much to go to sleep?
Yeah.
You're a fucking terrible person.
Yeah, that sounds like a scenario where it's just like you're looking for trouble there. Like you can't put the seat just all the way back and like to the point where the seat is resting on you. You have someone sleeping on you. Like
feel bad for whatever effing destination she's going to, or he or whoever it was, because promise you, whoever they're going to is not looking forward to seeing them.
But I still maintain my point. This all could have been solved with neck pill, but also, yeah, like not the asshole at all. The let's read the comments here. She's not an asshole reclining. You're not an asshole for resting your head on the tray. She should have maybe checked when it wouldn't recline, but I don't even think she's an asshole for assuming the mechanism was stuck and pushing back. The asshole, and this is where my problem is. Like that whole situation, I don't think anyone's an asshole in it. I think she's the asshole for how she reacted. Other words,
no, she's an asshole for waiting for her to get off the plane to yell at her. That's what makes her an asshole.
Yeah. And that's what
most people just go about their fucking day once they get off a plane. Nope, you just have so much hate in your heart that you have to wait to yell at someone. Like, I'm serious. I call security on them. They shouldn't be allowed in public.
Asshole behavior occurs when she accuses you of intentionally blocking her and she calls you names. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Here's a reply. These days, on the average plane in economy, at least, I think anyone who reclines is an asshole.
Thank you. Like, jeez, that was my thought process from the start.
The last time someone reclined in front of me, I didn't even have space to open my laptop. Yes, it sucks that there's not enough room, but we should all just do each other basic courtesy of not reclining to try to keep things more bearable for all. Though really, airlines should just stop using seats that recline altogether or create more space between the seats, but we all know that ain't gonna happen. 100% agree with that comment. Yep. Yeah, that's a bit cruel to people on long flights. Imagine having to sit ramrod straight for an entire 11-hour flight. The person in height of you reclines. No one with any leg length can fit in their seat. It only works if the entire row reclines. I think that's the height of rudeness.
Yep.
Oh yeah, this just goes on and on. Well, yeah, things like that happen on an airplane, like especially when you're that confined. Like it's almost impossible for you there not to be an interaction with someone. Like you might bump someone or something like that can happen. Like it's not like no one's the asshole here. Like things like that happen on a plane when it's that crowd, especially when you're economy. But yeah, waiting around to call someone names and get mad at them, yeah, that's definitely asshole behavior. Agreed. And that's what the verdict was for that post. Here's the next one. Am I the asshole? I ate my girlfriend's ice cream that she left in the freezer.
Yes. Next question.
Next
Sorry,
question.
continue.
Yeah, we can read the first line here. Me, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 21 female. Yeah, asshole. Next post. All right. Yeah, there's never been an issue with age gap, especially with an older guy. But let's see where it goes. Me, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 21 female, have been living together for a little over a year. We don't really have any issues besides this one. My girlfriend always seems to forget she buys ice cream and will leave it in the freezer for months. I make a point to remind her at least once a week that she has ice cream in the freezer and needs to eat it before it goes off. A few days ago, I opened the freezer and discovered that she had a tub of ice cream that was about to go off. I let her know that it was about to go off and she should probably eat it, and she told me she would. Woke up today and it was still in the same spot and hadn't even been opened up, so I figured I would eat it before it goes off and gets wasted. She came home and saw the ice cream container in the rubbish. I'm guessing this is like in England or something. Yeah. And you're British, asshole. Yeah. You know that meme where it's just like they'll have there's like 3 or 4 people that's just like, oh, this guy, is a serial killer, and this guy is like killed animals, and it's just like the other picture, oh, this guy's fat. That's like, oh, this guy's British.
Yeah.
Okay. She was quite mad at me and also brought up the fact that I seemed to harass her about eating it and said I need to just let her deal with it. Extra information. We buy the main foods together like cheese and butter, but the ice cream was her purchase. I offered to pay her back, but she refused. I didn't want to go off, so I was planning on eating it and paying her back so she could get a fresh one. I don't get, like, why is that such a big deal? Like, it's her ice cream. Why is you should not be harassing her every second of the day. Gotta make sure that it's gonna go off. You gotta eat it, and then not telling her that you're gonna eat it. Like, it feels like so many of these posts, it's like they'll go behind someone's back. It's just, it could be so simple as, "Can I have your ice cream?" and like, "I'll pay you back." Like,
it's
so
like,
answer, yeah. It's frustrating because even like in a family, like whenever we have pop in the fridge, it's like whether I have it or someone else has it. Like if that pop gets stolen, it's like, just ask, man. Like if you ask like 99 times out of 100, I'm gonna say yes. Like, it's so simple, but like I don't get why he could have asked one, he could have asked it two. I don't get why it's such a big deal. If she pays for it with her own money, then why would you be worried about it going bad? Like, I would get it if you're very tight for money and that's money that comes out both of your pockets, but she pays for it for himself. I don't get why like you would do that, but what do you think? Could read comments.
Yeah, read the comments. I have no comment on this. Jeez.
You're the asshole. What on earth makes you think the ice cream was going off? It's frozen. Yeah.
Like,
the only way you can save yourself. Yeah. That's another part of it. The only way you can save yourself is if your girlfriend, i.e. not you, genuinely throws ice cream in the garbage if it's in the freezer too long. Otherwise, you're just a nagging, petty asshole that doesn't understand the concept. Just the visual of like her coming home. He has like a big thing, like big tub of ice cream. He's just like, "I'm helping you out," and his face is just like covered in ice cream. Like, yeah, this is the first time I've heard of ice cream expiring. That's what I don't have ice cream that much, so I'm like, I don't think that shit expires. At least not, it doesn't expire.
The way talking about it, it's not like it's been in there for long. Like,
yeah. Yeah, this is the first I've heard of ice cream expiring, so this seems like a big issue was made over nothing. Yeah. For sure, it'd be fine once after it's made. It probably has an expiry date solely for merchandisers because they can't sell past that date. It'll get freezer burnt maybe, but sometime the top is already burnt fresh from the store. Yeah. Put the carton of ice cream in a freezer bag after you open it. This will make sure it stays soft and prevents freezer burn as well. All right. Yeah, but that's what the verdict was, asshole. That just seems like big deal made out of nothing, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you argue over that. what else are you arguing over that or over in your relationship? Like, what else is happening? If you can't handle that situation, what
Right.
happens if a situation that matters actually happens? So
Definitely concerning, to say the least.
Let's see if I can find like a crazy goofy one.
Yeah, let's
I
do
don't know
one
if
more.
I can. Okay. So we'll end it off on this one. Am I the asshole for bringing a separate dessert and snacks to a kid's birthday party? Okay, so I'll admit.
Yeah, if I was one of the kids at the party, yeah, you are.
Okay, so I'll admit that I didn't think anything about this until the parties, as I did not think it was a big deal, but maybe I'm wrong. My daughter is 3 and was invited, to a birthday party for one of her friends from daycare. She's been invited to other kids' birthday parties, but this was the first time that I didn't really know the mom. So we went and she was having a blast, but when it came time to eat and have some cake, my daughter had brought her own little snack and some brownies to have. This wasn't because she is picky. I mean, she is, but it wasn't my reasoning. It's because she has celiac disease. Anyway, the mom got very angry with me and asked what was wrong with her food. I said nothing, but pointed out that my daughter had celiac disease, and while there were a few things she could eat, the majority wasn't safe for her, especially the cake. She didn't let it go and kept telling everyone I thought I was better than her. Most of the moms who knew me and my friend whose daughter also had celiac and I also prepared snacks and brownies for were trying to explain to her, but she was still getting offended. Typical liberal snowflake. So am I the asshole? So am I the asshole for bringing my daughter her own snacks and dessert? Update. I just wanted to add something because I am seeing it a lot. While I should have told her when I got to the party, I accept that. I didn't have a way to contact her ahead of time. There was no number or email address on the invite to contact her, and she drops off and picks up her daughter at a different time than me. I've literally never met her before this or had any way to reach out and to try and reach out since the other moms that I do know didn't have contact info either. Yeah. This is such a clear you're not the asshole.
Not the asshole. I don't know.
Even then, like not contacting the mother, who cares? Like this number one thing is protecting children, and then you do that, and then and then the other mother gets all offended. Oh, my cooking sucks. You think you're a better cook than me, or whatever. But it's like, no, my daughter has a disease. I would try. And there was another kid there that had the same thing too. So, and like, yeah,
just clown shit, honestly.
And then you hear the mom, like, how does that mom treat her child or children? Like, goddamn.
Yeah,
totally not the asshole.
That's for sure. Not the asshole. Not even close.
Absolutely 100% not the asshole. And as a mom, I can't believe you are even questioning it. Unfortunately, too many people still don't understand how serious celiac can be, but that doesn't excuse the host's behavior. Yeah. Wasn't at first, but man, she was so mad that I was second guessing myself. Let that go immediately. Immediately. She behaved completely inappropriately. Yep. Yeah, I don't. No, that's so clear. I don't really have anything else to add there.
Right? Yeah, it's a good closing note. Don't be stupid and ignorant when it comes to children and their diseases. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go there, but yeah. So yeah, that's it. Any closing thoughts before we wrap this sucker up?
No, that's all the thoughts I have, man. Good show today.
Hell yeah, it was. Yeah, we're getting closer to playoff time. Very much looking forward to it. Definitely gonna stream a couple of games in the playoffs. Well, hopefully more than a couple of games. But yeah, I already booked a day off or booked the week off for the first week of the playoffs. I'm like, yeah, now I can stay home, sleep in, and not have to worry about anything. I get to watch all the hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And then I already got my time booked off for Vegas. Like, yeah, the playoffs are gonna come and go, and then sooner than you know it, we'll be head down to Vegas. I'm looking so forward to it, and not only Vegas, like fuck, we might go to Grand Canyon. Like, I think it's gonna be a fun time. I'm definitely looking forward
for sure.
to it. So, yeah. Give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platform. Please like, subscribe, and share if you're watching our beautiful faces on YouTube. Also, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out any new content. And yeah, that's all we got to say today. Thank you for tuning in. Dylan, it was a pleasure doing this with you as always. We'll have another podcast out later this week, Wednesday. So, all right. Take it easy, y'all. Peace out.